Hello. Hello everybody. We are back again, streaming live, and now to this evening with the new version of Raw. Let's see if everything is working. I check here on the right side for the chat room. Let's see. Things are working well. Okay. I'm gonna say hello in the chat, and a bit later on, of course, you can ask some questions, and I will check in the chat room. Yeah, guys, it took a bit longer. We had the plan to release this new version or this update from Raw at the end of February, and I guess you can hear me, guys. I think so. Everything is working. And it took a bit longer because we have many presets also from some artists, and of course they are often busy making music, having gigs, and so we had to wait a bit on the presets. But now we have them, and this new version of Raw will have a lot new presets, over 750 presets, so that's quite a lot, and some new features. And I like to tell today about these new features. And maybe also a bit about the background of Raw. Last week we had Subboom Bass. I told a bit about the background of Subboom Bass, and with Raw, the background is that in the Netherlands, hardcore and the hardstyle dance music is very popular already from the early 90s, and it developed. And of course, we have a range of synthesizers, but they are pretty much very clean. And what they use a lot, of course, in this hardcore dance, hardstyle, and for instance also drum and bass, is a lot of distortion. And if they use a regular synthesizer, they always have to go outside their synthesizers to achieve certain things. So DJ Promo and Freak, we had both the discussion on one on the dance fairs, and yeah, they mentioned, well, Rob, maybe it's an idea to build a synthesizer which is focusing a lot on distortion. And so we put our heads together, and yeah, Raw was the result. And this is the new version, and we did some improvements, for instance, on the reverb side. So the reverb, which you can find here, let's take one preset. You can hear from the start that's a very nasty preset. So here's the reverb. Shut it down. It's dry. And now I put on the reverb. It's very dense reverb. We use the algorithm from RPverb. So inside Raw you can use reverb. Reverb is a very critical affix. Unlike delay, if the reverb has a bad code, it really can break down the sound. And that's not the case with Raw. It's really an addition to the sound. So the reverb code is improved, has a very nice dense sound. Okay, let's check it on a different preset. I go now to the bank manager. I take one other bank. Okay. See here in the bank manager we also have a new thing, and you see the star system. That is also new. If you are inside a bank and you like a sound, you can give it a star. So this screech I like, so I give it a star, or this arpeggiator sound. If you like that sound, you give it a star, and that makes it easier to find it back. So, but I was talking about this reverb. Okay, let's play one under lead sound. Let's see if I have a... It's really a without the reverb, and you clearly can hear that it adds really a nice, surrounds the sound and adds a depth to it. Doesn't sound metallic. It's a very natural sounding reverb. So if you could combine that with a beat, way, a very nice, nasty bass drum by DJ Promo. It has a lot of distortion, but you can hear the reverb is a very natural sounding one. So that's an improvement. Okay, so in the manager, it's up here. You have this button where you see all the banks. We have a lot of new presets, and let me show you a few of these presets from Ditter, DJ Ditter, producer. This one is nice, by the way. It's a pad sound. This pad sound has a little edge, and this is because it has a distortion use. So if I put off the distortion, it's a more cleaner pad. Okay, now go back to original preset, then you have a little overdrive. So really adds a different edge to it. And what I like to mention is that what you see on the right side, it is a pre, a post EQ, a wave shape, a distortion, and a lo-fi. They are on note level. So if you hit a note, each note has its own EQ, own wave shaper, own distortion. So it's not like if you would have a synthesizer and you play a chord into a distortion, this whole chord is distorted. But now each note has its own distortion, which sounds much better. Okay, so this is the bank from Ditter. Okay, when I hit again this, okay, screeches are inside, but also arpeggiators. Also super saw type of lead sound. Yeah, and this sequence sound which I had here, which I think combines nice if you have here a bit of more hardstyle bass. Sequences down here. And you see here the XY in each oscillator that does the phase distortion, and you can tempo sync it. It really changes the sound. So that's just one of the banks from Ditter. Okay, let's move on because we have a lot of stuff to show this evening. I go down. Then we have, of course, DJ Promo, which has a lot of nasty stuff. The bass drum you just heard in this beat, which is in the background, is one of the bass drums from DJ Promo. See here, use the arpeggiator to play the bass drum here. So a lot of cool sounds in his new presets, a lot of distorted kicks, but also he's also some new lead sounds. So here in this Promo, you know, and everybody who dance in the, of course, in the hardcore knows what the you know means. It's the alpha you know type of texture to the sound. So DJ Promo new presets. Then we have okay, let's go down. And now I'm in the bank manager. We have F Noise and Blaster having some cool stuff. Here the focus is really on distorted sound. But it was a nice beat. Okay, let's try it again. So this is from the F Noise and Blaster bank. Okay. So quite some, you hear a very long tail, makes it really spacey. Okay. Lead sound screeches, of course. Let's go to the main screen. You can see the XY and the first oscillator to make the screech. You can see already some things popping up. Well, I will go back to the questions later on. I first show you what is new. What is also new is that you have a kind of drag and drop. So if I go to the modulation matrix and I say, okay, I want to have this parameter symmetry from the pulse width modulation modulated, I can click on it and drag it down, and then you see it's here in the destination. Of course, I need to have also a source, and then you need to pick a right source. So that's the kind of drag and drop we have, or you could say, for instance, go to this parameter and then use the right mouse menu and set modulation to, and then pick one of the sources. So there are several ways how you can set up your modulation. Okay, and let's see if I can use and also the envelope here to use that as source. No, then it's the destination. Okay, so the drag and drop, I prefer to use the right mouse button instead of drag and drop, because if you want to drag and drop, you first need to open this modulation screen, and if you simply use the right mouse button, you can say set modulation to anything you like to have. Okay, so that is also new in the new raw version, but let's go back, sorry, wrong screen. Let's go back to the manager and to the F-Noise sound bank. So lead sounds, growls. And in this sound, you really can hear how much distortion does to a sound. So if I would put down in this the EQ, let's see if the post EQ is also used. No, and put off the distortion. This is the sound without distortion. Yeah, it's very loud, I know. I see people in my ears. Yeah, it's very loud, I know. So distortion is 18, it's used here. And ahead of the distortion is an EQ. That's also an idea which DJ Promo and Freak did mention to me, because before they go into distortion, they want to already sculpt the sound and use the EQ to change it. And although sometimes the level of a sound in raw is the same, but if the sound has a lot of distortion at the same level, it sounds louder because the mid frequency are much louder. So we, as humans, recognize that as a much louder sound. So let's go back to I have also made my own bank. It's called Rob Go Wild 01. So tomorrow, guys, you really can download the new version of Raw. So if you have Raw, go to rawpapen.com, log in, visit my products, and download this new version tomorrow. I think somewhere in the afternoon, you can download it, run the installer. You have all the new features, all the new presets. Well, what I use in this preset is, for instance, what I want to show you. Okay, I didn't select the preset. This is also kick, but what I use here in the kick is the arpeggiator, and the arpeggiator uses the free row to control the EQ. So if I go to the modulation matrix, it's down here, and I scroll down, you can see the ARP free row controls the pre-EQ frequency 1, which is this one. You don't see it moving, but it controls the sound. So listen what happens now in this bass drum. I can change it again. So there are really some very neat features inside Raw. And of course, the first idea was to make the synthesizer less complex than, for instance, Predator or Bluetooth, but if you want to have certain sounds, you also need the features. So in the end, we started out very easy, but then this came to it, and Freek had this idea. Then I had that idea. John, the coder, had an idea. So it ended up a bit more complex than the initial idea, but it's cool. So in this preset, the free roll is used to change the EQ. Okay, so see, here's some of my presets. What I did, for instance, also. Let's see. In this preset, I use the noise, which is a source noise, to modulate the pitch of the oscillator. You get this grainy sound. Really inside of it. So okay, but let's go to the other stuff we have. We have also great bank by Solar, and Solar is not the traditional hardcore or hard style sounds. He and hardcore, he makes trap, drum and bass type of stuff, and he has a lot of cool sounds inside of it. So it will show if you download tomorrow the new version of RAW. Check this solo bank because it has a lot of cool, new, different type of sounds. This is just distorted. You see, I made sounds. Let's go to the front. He uses a lot of modulation. And new inside of the new version is also this pass. Now we had a default pass, but now you can also change the path. I'm not sure if Solar uses in this preset a different path, but you can hear it. Somebody, Shane, is this a brand new synth? No, RAW is out already quite some time. This is an update for the current RAW with new presets and new features. Okay, now let's pick another preset from him. Nice back sound. Still he uses the EQ, Rose EQ. So I'm just picking a few of them. Jump raise. This also could be. Could be a early hardcore sound. Okay. So in the Solar bank, 128 great presets. So as mentioned, over 750 new presets. Let's see. I'm just checking now the new presets and play a few for them. So this is the Solar bank. Okay, I'm going down. Then we have Stinger and Autism 01, which has some nasty stuff. And from his bank, my favorites are the Omen leads. Very wide. It's good for this more heavy stuff. So also here you see he uses the raw amount, the modulation is recorded here. It's tempo synced, and a lot of distortion is going on. So if I shut it down again, you will hear again the natural sound. Okay, I put it off here. So it uses the phase distortion, the wave shaping inside the phase distortion it is, inside raw. This is clean. And then raw. Then you got the EQ. Of course, I also can click here on original, then I also have the original. Because you are inside the synthesizer with the distortions and EQ, it's a lot a lot easier to work with. And of course, if you save the preset, you have everything okay, instead of using outside gear. So let's see. We have, let's see. I'm not sure if I had this one. This is a new bank from Vitaly AB Igneous, I think. I'm not sure if I'm pronounced this well, but has some nice dark pet sounds. Of course, people maybe might think that raw is only for hardcore, hardstyle drum and bass, but I think it's what happens with music is that producers also look in different synths and try out things. And it would not surprise me if one of the hardcore lead sounds suddenly pops up in hip hop or any other music styles. It's of course also very cool for if you're doing music for games or a film score, which needs some dark tones. I have one preset here. This one, low knatter. It's a really deep. Oh, and this preset, by the way, you see that the order they changed. It goes the filter pre-EQ. See, where is it? Oh no, this one still has the same order. Sorry, my bad. I thought I had somewhere a preset where this order was changed. Let me check. Okay. That's a screaming alien. Sorry for that, guys. I'm just looking for this sound where the... Okay, it's maybe a good idea to Jamal. I think somewhere he has the order different. Okay. Aha. So here you can see the pass is how you connect the modules inside raw. So you can say first the oscillator goes to the filter, then the wave shaper, pre-EQ. So now the pre-EQ is not in front of the wave shaper, but behind the wave shaper. And in this preset, you see the order here is again different. Of course, Jamal has some great stuff. It's different. It's not per se useful for hardcore dance, hard style music or drum bass, but just what I said, it's raw is much more also for different types of music. Okay, let's play this pack. So also here distortion is used. Let me give you another example from the Zoid bank. There is this sound which is no one back. Where is it? Oh, here it is. This one, I can imagine that this one would be cool in a film score. Okay, let's go to a different tempo because the tempo of my sequence is a bit too high. See. Okay. That's a bit too low. My bad. Very dark sound. So also here some new presets from Zoid and also this one uses the sequencer. So the arpeggiator is not only arpeggiator, but each step has its tune function. So if you just play one note, it acts like a sequencer. Okay, 1 second. Yeah, what we have also different. Okay, let's play a few presets from this bank. This is of course nicer if this is with a higher beat tempo. 1 second. We go a bit higher. Again with the bass drum. So the arpeggiator is also nice for making some grooves and that kind of material. So, okay, about the new features, I will continue with the other presets in a second. So, okay, let's go here. I pick default preset. So what is also new is that we have here now a button called Anadrift. If the producers tend to make a lot of bass drums with raw, well, the good news is that we are going to release later this year raw kick, which is only focusing on the kick, and it will have some raw elements but also some new elements, and of course the focus is the edgy kick, so the distorted kick sounds which you hear of course a lot already in raw. Of course raw is a synthesizer, can do much more, but I think it's a good idea that we make also a with the same concept on distortion, a raw kick. So in a couple of months that will be released. We're working on it already, and of course together with DJ Promo and Frake to make it really a cool new product. But what is new? I derail myself. It's about the Anadrift. The Anadrift is essentially, if you put it off, the oscillators are far more tighter. Anadrift is analog drifting. If you have this little synthesizer here, the Mini Moog, the oscillators are not 100% stable. They always drift a bit, and that makes that you get a very warm sound. But if you want to have making a tight kick drum, then you don't want to have drifting. So you want to have a steady sound. So we make this on off. It's up to your taste. Some people don't even hear it, but when I show it by using simply a saw wave, okay, I take 2 saw waves. You can hear kind of drifting. Okay, and I put off the drifting. It stays steady. Again, with analog drift. It's a kind of phasing watch here. This is very natural to get the analog type of feeling. It makes the synthesizer sounds more warmer, but sometimes you don't want to have that, and so you can put this on or off. That is also new in raw. So I'm just looking at my picture here. Then there is new this pre-distortion filter, which is kind of smooths here a bit in the low end, changes it a bit. But this is also new, that there is also ahead of the distortion an additional distortion which is inside here. So yeah, the pass, I did explain that already, that you can change here the that you can say, okay, I want the reverb first, so that okay, see it, verb first, then you got the chorus, then the gator, and then the stereo delay. So this is the FX pass, and then the oscillator pass is this part where the oscillator goes to the filter, EQ, wave shaper, and you can change that. So that's also new. Okay. Yeah, I'm checking now very shortly in the RAW is part of the Explorer 4, so I'm answering now a few answers inside the and you can, yeah, the full update will be tomorrow, so people simply need to log in tomorrow and download this latest version of RAW, run the installer, and you will have all the new functions and all the new presets. Okay. Just checking a few presets, few questions. Okay, now let's go back now to RAW and show you a few of these presets. This is, by the way, the back panel. The back panel, you can have the option to have a big screen. What I use now is a big screen version. Computer up-down, this is for changing the presets up-down. External MIDI response, if it responds to MIDI, program change, or bank select, you can put it off if it's interrupting in some way. Yeah, there is a global tuning. You see here the brain is in the middle. You see the brain of RAW. There's a warning here on the sticker, which you really should read. And if you click on this RAW symbol, again, you go back to the main panel. And up here, you see this is manager button where you have the bank manager. And you see here there are some new presets inside of it. This is from my own bank with some new presets, very more edgy stuff. Normally I'm the guy for more the clean sounds, as DJ Prober did mention. So I go wild in this bank with some new lead sounds, which I just played a few. And in which I use noise to modulate the oscillator. So if I go back here, I also can hear how nice this reverb is, FXB. Without reverb. So I can put in the stereo delay. Okay, let's put it a little bit louder. And if you say, oh no, I want to have a different order, so you want to have the stereo delay after the reverb, you press this one and you have first the reverb and then the stereo delay. So the stereo delay does also now, it's far more flexible in the routing inside RAW. Okay. Yeah, there's inside the this is of course not a good example because I changed some things. Okay, let me see if I have all the presets. Tonal Axis also made some presets. FX sounds. What I told, this RAW is not only for making the harder music and dance styles, but also for the next Terminator movie or Predator versus Alien. Okay, so some new presets from Tonal Axis from Richard. This pad sound is very nice. Okay, let's play it. each time I toggle between the manager, because for me it's easier to find a preset, a nice bass sound. And interesting, in this sound he uses lo-fi. Interesting. By the way, I heard that one also, sorry, clicker, also elsewhere. Okay, but so there's a lot of cool presets on board where you can have fun, and it's not only for the harder music styles. A lot of possible is with a good synthesizer. Okay, this lo-fi I want to show you with this bass, which is from Rob Fabry, who has also banked with 100 new presets. It's really grainy, but this grain is done by the distortion and the lo-fi. So this is more FM synthesis type sound. And now he adds the distortion and a bit of lo-fi. It's really nice to use that kind of stuff. Oh, somebody is asking, can you answer me please the question of 2016? Okay, let me check that. Where is 2016, if I can see it? Or could you answer, question it again, because I don't see a time on the chat. So ask it again. So phase retrigger, yeah, that's inside the oscillator anyhow. So if you go, we talked about if you go default preset, saw wave. Here we have free. Free means that the oscillator takes a random starting point of the waveform. So if I put analog drift off and take two oscillators and both are free, with free off, it's very tight, and when I put one in free, you can hear that they both, that oscillator 2 starts on a random point, because if the free is off, each oscillator, the saw wave, starts at the same point, so each time they're both the same. Only if you detune a bit, or if you put free on, they each have their own starting point. That is the free inside each of the oscillator. Of course, with analog drifting, it is even more, and with detuning. So the free running, if you put it off, it makes that the oscillator always starts on a 0 phase. Retrigger works with FM. Okay, the question is about the easy interface. Okay, I will check that soon. Retrigger works with FM on. Let me see, it's a good question. I think that remain. FM means frequency modulation, so oscillator 1 modulates oscillator 2. Let's see, have I open the amount? Okay, put off the analog drifts. So, yeah, FM. Let's take a sinus. Now you hear FM. In fact, it's phase distortion, but okay, it's. So when I open the modulation, you hear the oscillator 1 modulating oscillator 2. And now the free is off, so it's very steady. So when I put now free on, you hear that it has little changes. So if you want to have a really tight sound, put off free and put off the analog drift, then it's very tight. This is also the reason why we put in the in each oscillator you have these 3 pages here, amp section. So you can add, if you open it, you can add in volume control for oscillator 1. So I also have a little FM synthesizer. Almost a guitar, isn't it? Little mute guitar. Oh yeah. So this is a FM synthesis. Essentially, one oscillator 1 modulates oscillator 2. And because of the amp control, it's nice for percussive sounds. So yeah, raw is far more deeper than you might even expect. Yeah, the analog drift is a variable thing indeed. Of course, somebody did ask how it is with the easy page. Easy page is down here. While the easy page has some advantages. Of course, if you look at raw, it has a lot of controls, and even now the easy page has a lot of controls, but it has the most important ones. So if I go here to a different preset, I can say also very fast. Okay. No, I'm not so fast. I don't know which preset I should pick. Okay, just pick one, the first one. Okay. Now this makes that you can shut down the FX at once. You see it. It's more fun page. Everything is visual and more simplified. Even the EQ you can find here. You can put on the gator. You can open the amount. So I see it more as a fun page, and where you can have some minimal controls and still do a lot on the sound. And if you, for instance, if you are working around inside this part and you think, okay, this is cool, then of course don't forget to do this, save preset, and then you say, oh, my own edit. So then you have preset is landing here in the preset folder, and then you have always the preset available for you. Okay. Okay, yeah. Now, so this is the easy page. You see all most important parameters are available here. Of course, I'm a lot in the manager now because, yeah, there are many fast way to select the preset, and you see the star system, which is nice preset from Solar. Now let's see if I have a bit of all the presets. Okay, I showed you from all the news banks, I think most of them are already the presets. I have to check my note here that I don't forget anything. Yes, I had them all. So I also did mention all the small features we have, and yeah. Okay, so please ask a question inside the chat, and I will give you an answer. And in the meantime, maybe I show you a few more presets and maybe mention what is done. And I go back to my old bank, my own bank. This is Dutch Rain. It's raining. And this one, noise is used again. Isn't that funny? If I go, very nasty preset, because it rains a lot in the Netherlands, of course. Screeches are very popular in dance music. Actually, it's a kind of scream. It's often used in the harder styles of music. Okay, let's play again this screech in the also some ARP sounds, which I want to show you something which the ARP does. See where it is? 1 second. You see here, it has a high tempo. It goes down, you can lengthen note with a tie. But there is one preset I wanted to show you, which I should have start because... No. Here it is, sometimes sequence. Okay, because the LFO, the main LFO, you see is very centered. And sometimes people say, okay, this LFO, I don't get it working. That's most of the time because of the mode, that it is in the wrong mode. If you have an arpeggiator playing and you want a moving LFO, it needs to play in free mode, because then it keeps on running. If you have the LFO in mono, each time it hits a new note, it just re-triggers, it starts again. So let's play the sound in free mode. You hear the sound goes up and down. Controls the filter here. So if I would set this to mono, it doesn't work. And poly, essentially, it also restarts the LFO, but on each note. If I hit one note, makes no difference. So if you have the arpeggiator running or other different sound, which should not be related to the playing in an LFO, and this is also for other synthesizers, use free mode. And the free mode, you see, it's MIDI time based, this main LFO. The slider is open here because it's connected to the filter. So, and the fun part of this sound is because it disappears in the filter, it goes up and down. And in the music, this has a very nice working. A different feel because of that. That's why we also use the vertical sliders here. Everything which is from the LFO is connected with the vertical slider. So this sound has the main LFO on this is an FX sound. You see here the LFO speed. But here it is connected to the panning. Goes left, right, but also on volume. And in this patch, this is an effect sound. I use the pitch bend. You see here, pitch bend to control the speed. So instead of using the pitch bend, I have to shut it down. Off here, I can use the to make the speed go up and down. Okay, where is that vowel effect coming from? Let's see in this. Let's go to the original. Let's see. I think this has to do with the modulation. It uses FM, and the FM is in sync mode. So if I go now do sync mode, they often do this lo-fi with using the sorry, the vocal stuff also with using lo-fi. That's of course also an option. But in this case, it's the oscillator 1 modulates oscillator 2, and it has frequency modulation, but not in the regular way, because I put the second oscillator in sync. And once the oscillator in sync, it has nothing to do with MIDI tempo sync. It has to do with syncing the waveform to oscillator 1. So yeah, that's a bit synthesis story. Somebody is asking, how fast can you create a distorted kick drum inside RAW? Yeah, of course, very fast, because of this reason. It's loaded with very good bass drums from, for instance, DJ Promo. Of course, essentially, the original 808, the bass drum is a synthesizer. And so this RAW as synthesizer you also can use for making bass drums. So if I would do it myself from scratch, so this is a default preset. I shut down the volume, velocity response on the amplifier. I open this filter here, and then I need a pitch envelope. The pitch envelope I can do already in oscillator 1, so open. But that's not enough. I need more power, more range. So the way I can do it is using the same, that's a trick, the same envelope again. Pitch envelope 1, let's see. And I use it again on this same parameter. So that's a little trick I sometimes do. Semi 1. So now I have the starting point. Of course, now I use the arpeggiator to okay. I already have a bass drum. And then of course they use a distortion pre-EQ. I need to make it a bit longer. This is the way to do it, I think. Okay. Well, that's the way how it's built up. It's of course a lot of trial and error, trying things out. The presets which are on board are really a good default thing. Of course, this is different with once we release a raw kick, it will have a different setting for making the initial model bass drum. That will be a bit easier than doing it now in RAW. You need pitch envelope, you need to really the nice setting, and if you have a dedicated drum module, that's a bit easier. But there are plenty of presets on board, which the one from Promo are really fantastic, and also other ones. And simply by changing here, you can make your own sounds. Okay. Let's see if there are more questions. Don't see any other pop-ups. So yeah, there's a lot to play around if you have RAW. I think it hits now almost 3,000 presets, which is a lot. Of course, a lot of nasty presets on board, and which is also the aim with RAW, to have the edgy sounds. This one is also nice, a wobble. And you see in this one uses the modulation wheel to control the speed of the LFO. Okay, I'm checking here if there's any more questions. Not really. So maybe it's nice that I tell a bit about the general thing what we added. So if you have raw and pick the default preset, you have a saw wave, 2 oscillators, you can detune them. If you have in each oscillator you have the spread function, if you open it, it generates a multi-oscillator sound. So spread means that you get already a multiple oscillator sound. Yeah, each oscillator has its own additional pages. Pulse width modulation is especially nice if you use the square waveform. So traditional pulse width modulation. But there's also a amp section inside the oscillator 1. So if you open the amount, you can make that the sound of the oscillator is shorter. And this I used by making this FM sound, so oscillator 1 modulating oscillator 2. That's also the reason why you have this button here, which can shut off going the oscillator 1 going to the filter, but then the oscillator 1 only modulates oscillator 2 if you open this amount control and add FM. So this adds a little a synthesis feature while we put this filter routing to the filter on off inside oscillator 1, so that you have more freedom, more modular freedom inside of it. Then so this amp controls the volume. Okay, now I need to put on this filter. Okay, double click on amount makes that it is 0 again. You have here the readout, so 0, and then there's this pitch envelope. Well, this type of thing is often used also in these lead sound to have a little pitch glide. Combine it together with an extra. Well, this is about the oscillator section. We have the raw amount, but the filter also has a very neat thing. Okay, here spread. So once you hit this button, so you have the frequency, hit spread, that makes that the filter goes stereo, left, right. And the offset is then the difference between the cutoff frequency from the left and the cutoff frequency from the right. You can hear that? Right side and... So this way you can make very nice stereo sounds. But just having different frequency settings. Okay, I see some... Is there an option to record the EQ movement? Yeah, sure. In the modulation matrix, you can connect everything. So if you want to say, okay, modulation wheel control the EQ, you can record your modulation wheel. But it's of course also a parameter which you can record in your DAW as a parameter. Okay. So in one of the presets here, I showed it a bit earlier. Let's go back. Modulated kick here, the kick drum, the free row modulates the EQ. And it's down here in the modulation matrix. You can see the ARP free row pre-EQ frequency 1. So it modulates the pre-EQ band 1. You don't see it, but internally you hear it. Okay, let's see. I go back to the question. Are your plugins better than these or that? No, well, my plugins are different. I think We have our own sound, and they're very deep. Maybe for some people they're a bit too deep in terms of features, but therefore we have, of course, a lot of presets, high quality presets. And my brand is over 20 years old, and my products are heavily, we say that, appreciated by top producers worldwide, but also hobby musicians. And the focus on the products is mainly having great preset and making music. So I think no brand has everything perfect. That doesn't exist. So I think combination of other brands together with my products is great. Sure, absolutely. Each has its own character. I mean, it's the same if you ask, oh, does a Fender sound better than a Gibson guitar? No, it's different. And of course, the raw Papen products have a certain vision, and the vision of raw Papen is to make cutting-edge products. Think out of the box, and that's, you see reflecting this a lot in raw, where we listen to producers, to their wishes, and we took it from there and made a great, very different synthesizer. It's very different from Bluetooth, very different from Predator 2. I think it's pretty much unique compared to any synthesizer because of the distortions and the way it's built up, and it reflects in the presets you hear. So, guys, we are at the end now of this hour. So this is 22 March that we have this live stream, and tomorrow you can download this new version of RAW. And if you would check this video later on, you already can download it, of course, or maybe you have already installed this these new features and these new sounds. Okay, guys, thanks for watching, and see you back next week. Bye.